I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and we're even closer approaching the decisive events of the qualifying cycle for the 2025 Carcassonne Champions League, and for the third course of the day, we're having a tight duel between evenly matched opponents. The player with a screen name Polo Verde of Italy against the player with a screen name chonps of the Czech Republic, both members of national teams of their respective countries, rated in their upper 500s, early 600s. So this should be fun to watch. This is in the lower bracket of the fourth branch of the first qualification group. This is the lower branch because each of them has already had one loss, so this means that they cannot afford another loss. So whoever loses today is out of the tournament, and whoever wins still has one more duel to overcome in order to successfully complete the qualification cycle. So Polo Verde actually played already against chonps before, and they came up on top. So this is a rematch. Then, of course, they lost 2-0 against Pyro of Japan, who's by far, I would say, the strongest player in this field. Then they defeated the player with screen name Sova 2-1 in the lower semifinals. Whilst in the meantime, after chonps was relegated to the lower round, he managed to, without conceding a single game, to defeat Jack Fowler of the United Kingdom with my favorite screen name Jack Face. Then we witnessed this match against David 44 of Hungary on stream, which was very back and forth and full of blunders and full of brilliances too. And now this. So the game probably is going to start in about a minute or so. Let's just go to the players' profiles and jump right into it. It is a best of 3 as usual, so we will be witnessing at least 2 Carcassonne games, possibly 3, and a couple of tiles have already been placed. The Czech player with the red meeples, the Italian with the green. I always like when players pick meeple colors from their national flag. This invasion into the city looks quite profitable. Still, all 10 Doritos for connection are in the deck, building up the monastery in the process, so definitely an advantage here for the Czech player. Polo Verde here is trying to restrict the square a little bit. It doesn't work as chonps immediately draws a Dorito tile to connect. Might even consider dropping an early farmer here, and yeah, why not? So I know that early farmers like this can sometimes seem a bit strange to casual players, but it's a super common thing to do, because the idea is that there's so many green squares that the field is likely to develop later, especially if this road is being concluded right now, for example. Then it would just give so much space and many squares to add new cities and expand the field and add point value to the field as well. So green here starts a new city on the right. Red starts a new road next to his monastery and gets another monastery tile to stack. Just what an advantage here for red. But I think green might have missed a tiny chance if green were to go over here and meeple a new road. Yeah, so there's really no reason of just emptying roads, of leaving empty road tiles, especially when you're a bit behind on the scoreboard. You really want to take every point that you can get. And I think many players just underestimate the importance of roads, according to 2016 world champion Vladimir Kovalev. Yeah, and then if we were to have placed a monastery meeple over there, this would create this platform for abusing this square a little bit. So this would have been dangerous, but now it's perfectly safe, and chonps will complete his monasteries. He will probably might even get a 6-point road in the process, and a very difficult position for green is going to be. But you know, the game is still young. Green could draw monasteries of his own. Alright, so I see we have mostly Italian presence in the chat. Hi Michele, hi Edoardo. rooting for their countrymen. Do let us know if there's anybody in the chat rooting for Czech Republic here to balance it out. Yeah, look at this move. So this was very interesting by Reds. This is just solely with the purpose of expanding the field. Now this city cap of green, for example, is in a Red's field, and probably sooner or later Red will need to attack it. Green will need to attack it rather. Not right now, because this is a very good tile to add 4 points to our scoreboard and re-meeple the new city cap like nothing happened. Both players equal on the scoreboard, but a city cap goes to chonps as well, renewing his scoreboard lead. Dorito tile for Polo Verde, probably going to expand one of his cities. Makes sense to expand this city towards the left. That's probably going to be the best move, the safest move. But a nice invasion tile for chonps. Not many of those were available in the deck, but he still manages to draw one. Another 4-point tile for the player whose screen name in translation means green chicken, hence the color of the meeples. And another Dorito tile for the Italians. So, what are we gonna do? I don't think it's a good idea to add a tile over here. It's just better to wait. Yeah, and he goes over here to start a new city and have some chances of maybe snatching this whole construction to himself with back-to-back triple city tiles. There's still all the big tiles, all the big city tiles are still available in the deck, and now chonps probably wants to get out of harm's way and complete those cities. It's a bit of a shame that he's going to have to use a shielded tile on that, but you're going to do what you have to do. Because I don't think the chonps quite has the meeples to capitalize on the shield effectively. I guess he could go over here and start a new city, which would also conclude his monastery, so he wouldn't even have to spend a meeple. That's an opportunity for sure. This would be attackable easily from both sides, but he just plays the safer move, and I rather like it. Might even consider dropping a farm right here, but maybe a little bit premature. And this decision has a lot to do with the exact tile runout. Again, like all the big tiles, all the tiles that green could use to build a big city and use up these fragments are still in the deck. Green with an interesting move, so I really like this. So he chooses to sacrifice a point and take a 6-point monastery instead of a 7-point monastery, but to control Red's road, also disrupt this construction, not allow a 6-point road over here. And also he wants not to expand Red's field. The last point doesn't matter that much, because eventually Green will need to attack Red's field in all likelihood. It's just too big. It's already 9 points, so it's more than enough for investment of a meeple. But geometrically, this placement works out really well. chonps drawing the quadruple city tile with only 2 legal placements, so he's forced to add points to green. And green now tries to cover up, and he'll be trying to run away with one of these cities. And the odds are definitely in green's favor because, again, as I told you, all the big tiles, or at least now 7 out of 8 big tiles, they're still available. Although actually, maybe it's not even that helpful, because the standard pattern for this sort of city is like ellipse-shaped city with extension, so that would be 3 Doritos and 1 triple city tile. But 5 out of the 10 Doritos have already gone out. So maybe we'll need to modify the pattern a little bit, maybe like something like this perhaps, with 2 city caps over here, so that's also an option. But the most important part is just to turn this city into a real threat soon enough. Straight line for the Italian. There is a strong move available in the position, but it requires making up one's mind strategically. If we're going the scoring route, we can just take this 3-point road, hope to get a crossroads. That'll be a nice 4 points for us. If already wants to start going for the field, which is the approach that I probably prefer here, then we could go over here, drop a farmer in a place where the connection to the field will be completely unblockable, and he does exactly that. I love it. Of course, red can equalize and just by immediately dropping a farmer over here, but it's ain't no big deal because we just effectively traded off meeples. Probably benefits green a bit more than red, as red still has a couple of moves ahead of him to recuperate those meeples. And another thing that this move did, which I really like, was actually make this square a little bit harder to use for invasion against the city. It became blocking the city a bit easier, but invading the city harder, and this is what matters more in this position, I believe. Now, an interesting move from chonps, one with which I happen to disagree. Just spending a tile on creating an attacking platform against the green chicken city, maybe deciding that it is dangerous enough. At least it certainly pays off in the sense that we're forced to use the tile for building up the city slightly suboptimally. But generally, unless the city is really, really threatening, I don't like making moves which just chase it around. So this already cost green 2 points. Because these tiles could have been over here, above the monasteries, setting up another monastery, and so on and so on. And the city will be dangerous eventually, but still, like, it's not that urgent to attack it. 2 quick points for the Czech player after the Italian takes 3 points for the road, 1 point extra for green on the scoreboard. Extender tile for Polo Verde, and I think it's an excellent opportunity to place it over here. It looks a bit disruptive, but it really isn't. It just covers up the city nicely, does not allow invasions, and there are still plenty of tile sequences like this, for example, that allow the development and the ultimate completion of the city without even creating additional attacking platforms. And he chooses to add this city into a different place. I doubt the utility of this move, really. Just because it will add a couple of points to it eventually, but now the city is vulnerable on both sides. chonps here choosing not to meeple this monastery. A bit of a surprising decision given the number of meeples that he has. Maybe he wants to save some more to attack the farms. Certainly prefer the monastery meeple there. This monastery is not as easy to block as it seems. And he will be getting an additional point after he completes this monastery. The reason why I'm saying this monastery is not that easy to block is because all blocking tiles, potential blocking tiles against this monastery, are the same tiles that green needs for the development of the city. For example, cow tiles, extenders, Doritos, so all the city tiles, so all that good stuff is needed by green. And green, I think, here makes... Not sure if that's a mistake necessarily, but it is a double-edged move. So green adds a city cap to red city. And now the choice of green is clearly... like, his plan is clearly to just go for the completion of the big city. And he leaves 3 tiles that fit into this square. Well, now 2 after chonps draws 1. But the issue with that move is that it helps the city of red a little bit. And red could get enough compensation. And the second issue is that this square was yet to be filled. So there were some scenarios how green would get blocked in this square because a substantial number of those tiles had already gone out, but the plan totally works out for green. I might prefer to do something different, maybe just placing this city cap over here, covering it up, going for an indirect defense, but the plan of green seems to be working out fantastically, as there's still 2 tiles remaining that fit into the square. The field is now covered up completely. So 75% chance to get a 3-point road and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, a 22-point city. So that would be a fantastic addition to green's scoreboard. Let's see if that happens, because 75% is not 100. It's still a lot, but anything can still happen. Curvy tile for the Italian player. probably a good idea to develop his monastery. There isn't too much point in connecting this farm yet because these two meeples cancel each other out. So this would give green 3 points net in the short term by unifying the 0-point field with a 3-point field. But we can do this later. And also we don't really want to go here and give back this nice 4-point or even a longer road. So probably the best move that I can see is something like this. I'd be going for a farm worth 6 points over here. The reason why we do need to drop a farm is because there's some scenarios where red drops a road monastery. And in that case, we want to be prepared. We want to already have a meeple over here. And this 6-point farm has already some potential. This move I don't understand because it's blocks his own monastery, essentially. Maybe that was a misclick or something. Maybe he has something more nefarious in mind. Red's threatening the completion of a 10-point city. Green immediately swoops in at the bottom to equalize. The negative side effect is that the city at the bottom gets neglected. And so it turns out, I guess this move was a monastery setup for green. A bit of a dangerous thing to do with only 2 monasteries in the deck remaining at the time. Let's see if that works out for him, as red simply finishes his own monastery and makes this square a little bit vulnerable. So now we're probably going to see a move like this, adding 1 point to red's road, but 2 points to green's monasteries, and bringing this guy closer to completion, also obstructing the city cap somewhat. Looks like a strong move. An alternative, I guess, is to go here and fight for the road, but that is way too dangerous with so few straight lines remaining in the deck because so many of them are on the board. Let's see what the Italian player decides here. And he does go for the move that works out brilliantly in the short term, as he denies the scoring opportunity for chomps with these city caps. But of course, he'll just probably drop them somewhere in his farm and try to crush green with his meeple majority. Yeah, and he's even planning to complete one of the cities and drop a second farmer just for insurance, something that's easily preventable for Polo Verde, but a decision to be made. Do we go over here, add a point to red and start breaking his city, or do we connect here first? And he decides that the connection is more important given the fact that there are splitter tiles still available. I probably would have preferred the block. Now, great tile for Polo Verde. Could go over here, drop a farmer. It's time already to do stuff like this. Yep. And there's still 2 straight lines that could help him finish the other monastery, but a wonderful city cap for chomps. The field is growing out of control, and Mr. Polo here will need really soon to try and do something about that field. But in order to do that, he needs meeple. So he needs either to finish up his monastery or to get one of the 2 horse tiles over here to get his meeple back. But first, I think we need to do something like this, just to prevent the easy completion of the city, or at the very least, we need to prevent red from dropping a 3rd farmer, because we eventually will need to attack that field. Because with the scoreboard lead of the Czech player, it looks like even the completion of the city might not be enough. So it will be plus 25 for Polo Verde, which will put him at plus 7 at the scoreboard. This road roughly equals this monastery, but the field is 15 points, and green currently does not have any compensation for that. Well, I guess this 6-point field is a bit of something. Yeah, green goes for the road. I really don't like this one bit. It's just misplacing priorities, it seems. And also, it's not such a long road. And it's also actually quite easy to separate. For example, with the crossroad tiles, there's plenty of those crossroad tiles remaining. So what did this move really accomplish? I think it was maybe just... well, he does get bailed out by the deck a little bit as he ends up with a 6-point road of his own. But the problem that I have with this, you see chomps now, because this city was so unobstructed all the time, he's now successfully completing an 8-point city, and he will be dropping another farmer, and he will be running away with this game. I don't think that the city for Polo Verde will be enough still. I mean, he can clean off the city cap, which he should. He can get a splitter here and finish an 8-point city and drop a farmer. Like, he can do a lot of these things. But we're running out of moves, simply. So there are only 8 tiles remaining. So after this move, the Italian player will have 4 more tiles to place, one of which will need to be this one. So maybe there's still a way how we can swindle this game. Maybe if we draw all the remaining row tiles, of which there are not too many remaining, we can actually drop a farmer ourselves and connect over here. And then if red doesn't draw any row tiles, then we can just leave his meeple as is. Looks like the green chicken here definitely needs the support of his fans. Some moral support. This move, I don't know if that's a misclick or not. Let me think about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it's not a misclick. It's actually kind of smart. I wonder if any of that was going to be enough. But the idea, of course, is to draw a Dorito tile and finish a bigger city. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's still 2 of those tiles available. And some of them might have shield on them, actually. No, they don't. So it's going to be just 6 points instead of 4. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be worth it, actually. I think cleaning the city cap in a traditional way was probably best. But then with the splitter tile, which, by the way, green needs over here, with the splitter tile... Ooh, and red decides to give green a meeple back. Yeah, but then, of course, red would have used this tile to even greater effect. And look at this, he gets the Dorito anyway. And what can he do? Does he kind of needs to farm, but he needs the meeples too. Extremely difficult situation here for Mr. Chicken. Maybe just dropping the farmer is an opportunity, simply not to allow red to get these 2 6-point farms, or just taking the 2 points by extending their city at the bottom and trying to keep their meeple so that they can take advantage of this road. No, the farmer is what we see. He really wants to deny the field access to red. So it's not so much about taking those points for themselves. It's more about not allowing to take those points for his opponent. And he does draw a tile that gives him a meeple back, completes the city for 20 points because this tile is shieldless. Also 3 extra for this farmer, so that's kind of nice. -7 on the scoreboard, but minus a gazillion on the fields. So with his last 2 tiles, Polo Verde needs to find a way to attack the main field, and it is doable. With simply back-to-back row tiles, we can go over here and over here. And then we actually might even win as the Italian player, despite the scoreboard lead of chomps, because that scoreboard lead is compensated by the 9-point farmer on the right part of the map. Eduardo in the chat is suggesting to never give up, which is a good idea. So Dorito tile for chomps. Not many things to do with it. Maybe just going over here, grabbing the points. Not allowing green to easily expand his city. That's an option. No farming moves are really available. At least no productive farming moves that I see. Well, actually, there is one. So we could go over here and meeple this 3-point ruin. And the idea of that move is to make it much, much harder for Mr. Chicken here to draw a sequence of tiles that fit into these 2 squares. Because we already would be obstructing this square over here quite a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 2 curves remaining nonetheless. But you see, the point is, if we go here, then if green goes over here, wow, he finds it. Unbelievable. I did not expect that. That's a really really strong move, because of course the idea is now, you see, now if Polo Verde goes here, then with almost any tiles, chonps will be able to block, but he still has to try, and chonps just gonna go over here. Yeah, this is why this was so important. He's just gonna go over here, block this square, and that's pretty much it. There's still one more curve remaining in the deck, so this block is worth doing. He might also just go here and connect his other farmer. That would also work, but blocking is the simpler idea. What a combo. Well, also, actually, an interesting thing is this move was still worth doing because 33% of the time it would have worked. So if chonps were to draw this horse tile, then he would not have any blocking platform here. And then green would have connected. So we're going to see in a second how much more green would have made, if that would have been enough for them or not. Yes, Wise Maze, exactly, the triple city tile with the road. But still, I really like this move because it does make it a bit harder to connect, because it does not allow curve plus straight line sequences. It only allows curve plus curve or straight line plus straight line. Alrighty, so 9-point fields in the center. I mean, at the left. So 9-point difference. So this means, I mean, we don't even have to count. Connecting to the field would have been totally enough for the green chicken here. So definitely deserves credit for bringing a difficult game into a situation where he was winning 1 in 3 times. Okay, 11-point difference. I don't think that changes this fact that much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, the main field is 18 points, so it's just too important. Wait, would that be actually the case? Would that actually be the case? I think so. So he were to get 3 extra, because these fields would not have been merged, so that's 8. Then he's merging a 6-point field with an 18-point field, so that's 12, so he's getting 20. But he's not getting this tile, so he's getting 3 less, so he's getting 17. Wait, what am I counting? 4, 1. Oh, wait, no, he's winning by 1 point. Yeah, exactly. Look, it's plus 11. Then we're getting 1 more, so it's only plus 8. Then we connect, it is plus 4 for green. Then we lose his 3 points, it's plus 1. So actually there was a chance for him to win by 1 point. Wow, would have been a beautiful close game. It was a beautiful close game nonetheless. Didn't seem close, but it actually was. So let's see if the second game is just entertaining, and if the currently higher rated Italian player can show some resistance to chonps in his second game. They seem to be taking a little break. I'm gonna be updating the score. So 2-minute break. Did they say that in the chat actually? I mean, they just said GG to each other. Okay, my hot beverages are still here. Lukewarm, but good enough. Let's just keep Refreshing the page so that we don't miss the start. And the game has started indeed. A couple of tiles have been played. 5-point road for the Czech player, no, for the Italian player rather, who's still playing green. A smallish city for chomps. Let's see if Paulo here gets the tile to invade. None of the players have scored, and look at an incredibly early farmer here. So his early farming tactic worked out like a charm. So you saw how important it was to be the first on the field, and it seemed that the field had only 3 points, but it developed to 18 and then some. But a great tile for Mr. Chicken here. Starts a 4-point monastery. Will chomps drop a second farmer though? That would have been a bit extra. So green here, excellent tile for them. Adding 1 monastery point, and also setting up blocking opportunities in this square. Like if we get a quadruple city tile, try to build around that square, so that red cannot get a tile that fits here. We'll be able to block this guy with 1 point and add a lot of point to ourselves in the process. So certainly, I think I should actually try and calculate how often exactly this sort of thing happens. But in this case, you can definitely say that it's often enough for it to be worth a shot. And green is getting 1 monastery point in the process in any case. Parallel city caps for Mr. Paulo here. Not many good places, but I can see one. So if we go over here, then we can set up plenty of good opportunities for ourselves. We're starting a new city in not our opponent's field. Important distinction. We are, and he does this. He's gonna, yeah, okay. I thought of that move too. I don't like it because we're dropping the city caps into our opponent's field. And even though this field has some potential, red still has yet to justify this farmer. But now after there are 2 city caps into his field, we did the job for red. It's not that dangerous to add this tile here because there's still 3 tiles that fit into that square. And maybe we drop a curve. We can defend the square quite easily in most scenarios. But not in this scenario. But red draws another farmer, and that could backfire for sure. Because the thing is, like, if this square gets blocked, then this field becomes much, much more restricted. But this square is not going to be blocked, as I presume here is the move by the Italian. Might even start a new city, although it's a bit dangerous, given the fact that 3 out of the 4 starting tiles have gone out, so this square is unusually vulnerable. But what does it matter? If we're going to get a fantastic tile right away, I think it should go over here. This also pre-builds a very nice road, which benefits us because it goes through the monastery. But red, starting a new city and also obstructing this guy over here. Yeah, so this move, if green loses this one, then this is probably because of this move over here. So just going over here on the left was much safer. It was more flexible strategically. Because the point is, like, it's not a big deal if you draw city caps into a field that is going to be shared eventually. But if your opponent drops a farmer like this, you should always try and preserve the opportunity of playing against that farmer and restricting it. And it was still possible, just keeping the field small, trying to build a bigger field elsewhere, and trying to run away with the game like that. So red, with an excellent anticipation move, meeples a 4-point road, which will turn into an 8-point road if green chooses to try and recover his monastery over here. But also, once red plays this road, I don't think it's even in green's interest to place a tile over here. If green gets one of the 2 remaining daggers that fit into that square, green will probably take care of the meeple in this side first. He does start a new city. Also in his opponent's field, in this case, there wasn't really much of a choice, because restricting this square is pretty important. So the longer this guy stays trapped or stays without movement, the longer we can prevent our opponent from drawing a tile that fits over here, the longer this meeple here can feel somewhat safe. Because if red draws its cab that completes his city, then this will automatically open a blocking platform against this square, and this square is absolutely important. Like, I don't think that a green here is winning this without the recuperation of this meeple. Chomps gets to connect to Mr. Chicken here. So these two cities are now equalized. Interesting decision for green. So we could either finish our city and connect to the road, but then that would create a bit of a problem because this would mean that we really do need to draw the tile that goes over here if we also have a meeple on that road. If only red has the meeple on the road, then it's okay to leave that square empty. If we both have a meeple, because we kind of need to save our monastery. So maybe a more patient move is just going over here, starting a new city and pre-finishing the road, because we really need those roads as well. And I think, like, if you go over here, then you have to attack the road. Because, like, you can't just do this without attacking the road. That would be really, really poor. Because if we don't place a meeple, then we've just provided, very kindly, a road end to chomps. And we've also closed off our city. Yeah, I really think that placing our last meeple on the left was actually better. And spending the last meeple in a position where you can recover it easily from multitude of spots is not that big of a deal. And he's thinking now whether to place a meeple. He drops a farmer, and I think that's a big strategic mistake that will cost him the game. I can't imagine this move having positive expected value. The main idea is that the field is already occupied with 2 meeples of red. So in order to equalize it, you will need to not find another farmer to drop. Well, you only have 1 meeple in hand, so where exactly are you getting that farmer? So the other possible approach was, again, just trying to keep this field small, build the cities elsewhere, allow reds to have a field where he already invested 2 meeples. But it is unlikely to work. Yeah, so like what this move often does, it really commits to a certain winning strategy. So with this move, like after that, if you drop 1 farmer, you will need to then later drop another farmer. But because red has the long-term meeple advantage, green is really unlikely to manage to... Okay, green could equalize this field, but I don't think green can overrun this field at the very least. And this move actually worked out really nicely, because chomps would have placed a tile over here. But green is really trying hard to save this critical square, and that's really interesting. So this move actually allows this being blocked in 1 swoop with something like a curve over here. But green recognized that there are only 4 curves remaining in the deck, and plenty of combos still that go over here. So we're talking either monastery plus city cap, or we're talking city cap plus Dorito. So if only we can get one of those tiles soon enough, then we will be doing quite well. This move, I'm not sure how I feel about. I think actually it hurts us more than it helps us. Because, well, it won't gonna matter that much. But the idea is that this square is now restricted a bit more, but it is restricted not in the way we would like for it to be restricted. We actually want to be able to place a straight line here to protect all the combos that are available to us. But it ends up not mattering, as we do get a splitter tile. So a city cap tile, then a Dorito tile will go over here. Green's meeples will survive, and then green maybe will manage to drop another farmer. But so the first thing is like the meeple issue, because green has so many meeples that will take time to recover. Like this one Well, okay, so this one doesn't matter that much because it's shared with red. Okay, he draws Dorito pretty quickly, so that's nice. Equal on the scoreboard, meeple advantage. But one that I'm really concerned in this road, because it needs 2 road ends, and we had 1, and we didn't use it. Yeah, so 2 road ends. So it's going to be really a while before we can consolidate. But the other problem with attacking the field is the space. Okay, you have 2 meeples. You want to drop a farmer. Where? Where are you going to drop it? So, all field attacking opportunities at the moment are like super low prob and marginal. So maybe like going over here, trying to connect with one of the 2 remaining straight lines like this. This is, of course, is easily blockable. So until the very, very end of the game, we can't afford to be doing stuff like this. So probably we either need to create a platform ourselves, maybe like dropping a cow tile here or something like this. Or we need to wait until red finishes his city and red creates the attacking platform. But so much of the time, red is going to finish the city and drop another farmer himself. So this move by green is really interesting. It's sort of like a stalling move, but it's a bit more than that. It actually sets up 2 field connection opportunities for the future. One is maybe over here through the last remaining starting tile, like this. And the other one is, of course, the traditional ninja farmer with a series of curves through the outside. Of course, very risky at this stage of the game, but with more crossroads being drawn and used up, this could become more and more of an opportunity. Okay, now the last cow tile for chonps chooses to block the shared city. And now Mr. Chicken here with a shielded tile, but I'm thinking of it more as a curvy tile. Maybe just going over here. It's a bit too early to do stuff like this. It's way too early with 6 crossroads remaining. We need to maintain our composure and discipline. Just go here and take the road points. An option is just to go here, add 2 points to his road, but this road is really, really problematic. There's also one more field connection opportunity going over here on the left, like this. Oh, instead he chooses to just add 2 points to his city side. That could actually work well. And there is a potential to draw a horse tile, which would give him 2 city points and 2 road points and endless expansion potential too. Now a crossroad tile for green, which is fantastic. So time to finish our road at least on one end and start a new city in the process. Chomps here with a horse tile himself takes 3 points and also eliminates this farming opportunity that I was talking about earlier, but a speedy meeple recovery for Mr. Chicken here. He's probably going to get a meeple back, and if he does this, then this move will set up another fields connection platform through the outside of a curve. So all of these platforms are marginal, but if you have many marginal field connection platforms, it is almost just as good as having one good field connection platform. Because what you can do is just wait until very close until the end of the game, and then calculate which are the tiles remaining, and then one of these platforms is probably going to be usable. This move I can explain, but it is unfortunately a very poor move. There is no reason to not finish his city, and it's a very, very poor decision here by Mr. Chicken. I don't know how to explain this. Maybe nerves when it comes to streaming, or maybe he's setting up something sinister, something unnecessarily desperate, but it could work out. So I kind of figure that he was covering up this side of Red City to try and limit the expansion potential of the city, like so that he can't add big tiles over here. But this is a useless thing to do, while there's still 2 tiles that fit in this square that can unify Red City and Green City. But another thing that after this move we could do is actually go here and just switch our winning strategy entirely. So we could just go for this city, try to go one of the horse tiles, just like in the last game, and then build it up and try to complete this. It's a tall order, not just because there are only 2 of those remaining, that is fine, it's a 75% chance, but just because we're having several squares which needs to be filled with city plus road tiles, and a large number of city plus road tiles has already gone out. But there's another problem now. If we don't do it as green, red could totally do it. I think for red this would be a stronger move than for green. So green does not do it. The chicken's out. Probably rightfully so. I think it was super tempting, and even chonps started accidentally typing something in the chat that might have been about exactly that sort of thing. Yeah, and this move, it has some merits. Yeah, it definitely puts some pressure on the city cap. I think a mistake now here by green, because of course it takes 2 points. I mean, by red rather. This was a red's move, yeah. So the scoring is nice, the 2 points and everything, and I guess you really can't blame him for scoring 2 points. But it opens such a nice platform to reconnect to the field. But maybe he plans to go beyond that. Maybe he actually hopes that Polo doesn't draw a city cap, which he doesn't. And then later, red will be able to place a tile over here to prevent the city from being completed with a farmer. Now I wonder what... I know what he's thinking about. There are 2 moves possible in this position. Either you go here to disrupt red's meeple, or you go here to disrupt red's meeple. And both moves have their merits. I slightly prefer the other move, this one over here. But the downside of the other move is that it still allows 1 splitter tile available for red to get his meeple back. But what this move does, it slightly compromises the integrity of this road. Luckily for Polo, he does draw a road tile, and he even chooses to meeple a new road, which is a bit dangerous, but I certainly always empathize with scoring aggression. And this is exactly what it is. It's a defensive placement. It's simply not allowing red to take an easy 4-point road. And very often this meeple actually makes it out alive, because even in a case of a partial block, which would be a standard block with a straight line or something like this, there's still 3 crossroad tiles available for recovery of this meeple and an additional 5 points on green scoreboard. Chomps with the parallel city caps. Not the easiest tile to place. Probably the move that I expect from him, I'm not sure if it's the best, but this is the move that I expect, is something that he did in the last game. Dropping the parallel city caps in what's currently his field, putting a meeple, and then hoping to get another city cap and another farmer into the field. So basically trying to do the same thing that Polo's trying to do here on the left, kind of racing him for that, saying, you know, you drop a farmer, I drop a farmer, we both score points, but as a result the field gets bigger and the field is mine. Let's see what he does. I mean, there's an alternative of going over here and maybe equalizing this city, but that's not such a great meeple investment. And after that, what's going to be possible, maybe Polo can get a Dorito tile and finish city like this, drop a farmer. But now, of course, I have no doubts. If anything that surprised me about this move is the hesitation, why this move wasn't played in 0.00.1 second. Why did it take 2 seconds for chicken? Well, maybe just some distance needed to be made between his hand and his mouse, and that's about it. So the field's connection platform that was so generously provided by chonps worked out like a charm. So it is now much easier for green chicken to equalize this field than it used to be. Both players exchange quick points. The road meeple of green comes back to his hand. Red still has trouble with his cities at the bottom. And green is ahead on the scoreboard. Yeah, this starts to look very good for green, actually. And note that the starting tile, the last starting tile, have been drawn. So this earlier idea of going over here with the farmer and connecting like this will not work anymore, as there's nothing that fits into this square. Straight line for chomps. Typing something in the chat. Maybe by accident, maybe on purpose. Maybe he's frustrated that he doesn't get a good attacking tile and was meaning to trash talk in the chat but changed his mind. Maybe he owns a cat and that was a catwalk on the keyboard. We will never know. Still has to place this road tile somewhere. A move that is tempting is just going over here to farm with 3 points and trying to connect into this field before your meeple gets blocked over here. That's probably not even the worst move, actually. Yeah, because like, what else do you do? So maybe you go here and no, that's not a good idea, actually. Maybe just go here, try and get some marginal chances of blocking the access of red meeple to the green meeple to the field. Because if we go here, in some scenarios we do get a city plus road tile and we block that square, and in some scenarios we do get a curved tile and then a bunch of other curved tiles and we block that square, given that the quadruple crossroads has gone out. So there are possibilities how we could block the access of green to the field. It's just those scenarios are super far-fetched. So much so that I wonder if instead connecting to the field, green can just drop a third farmer here. Oh, that would be so nice. No, that would be a terrible idea, because this is the last curve. And the only way how we can connect to this field if we drop a farmer is if we get a road monastery, but there's only one of those remaining. 1 minute and 52 seconds on the clock for the Italian, 30 seconds and then some for the Czech player. I think green here is planning to connect to the field. He's just thinking which way to do this. Both of them have downside, so this way gives up an easy 4-point road with a couple of crossroads or a monastery that are available, but this move gives up a field connection platform through the outside of a curve. I wouldn't be concerned too much about the latter, given how few curves there are remaining, 0. There's still a couple of curvy tiles, such as the one remaining Dorito with a curve, and a couple of daggers. He even chooses to place a meeple on the road. That's interesting. Are there? Yeah, that's because there are just still some crossroads in the deck. 2 quick points go for chomps, also closing down this attacking opportunity, because I know it looks very counterintuitive, because it looks like such a juicy square, you know, yum, 4-point road and a field entrance, but no curves remain, so this square is permanently blocked. And this field is generally blocked, which also means that the road monastery will be a super important tile. Simply because, oh, what a great move here by Polo. That's an excellent field connection platform. Sadly, it will be now partially blocked, but it was still a great idea. Because it can be connected either with a road monastery like this, or with some dagger tiles over here, or with regular monasteries over here. So plenty of field connection options, but chomps now gets a blocking tile, and he chooses not to block. That's really interesting. I guess he decides that a 50-50 chance is not good enough. Well, Mr. Chicken here will happily take this. Probably going to pre-finish his road like this. Wait for a curvy tile to get his meeple back. This move would also secure the field a little bit more. Yeah, so this is Red really laughing in the face of danger because he's not going to get many blocking tiles available to him. It kind of seemed that in his position, reducing the entire game to a 50-50 was about the best that he could do. Lots of monasteries indeed, Wise Maze. 4 monasteries fit into that square. And then by making this partial block and just sacrificing these 2 points, you leave only 1 monastery that's left into that square. Yeah, I think like very often, so of course traditionally you don't want to leave, you don't really want to increase variance in the game. But if your position is not great, which is the case for red, then variance is not at all that bad. Because I believe now that the win percentage for red is definitely less than 50. Whereas if you were to set up this road monastery, then his win percentage would be pretty much 50. I mean, he would be winning on most runouts where he gets the road monastery tile. Probably on all of them, or like the vast majority. There are some convoluted ways still how this guy could make it all the way to the field from the outside. Yes, you heard me. Because this city could be completed and then some tiles could be added over here. It's not that impossible. For example, now, it's actually not the worst idea to just complete that city because this will also give some nice insurance. It would give us 3 additional points. Or, I mean, if we want to go crazy, we can go over here, meeple the city cap, and try to get back-to-back Doritos to munch on all these juicy city points that are currently shared. So, minutes on the clock and 15 seconds for the player with the green meeples. Oh, great point, Wise Maze. Yeah, closing the city opens up farming options once again, because somebody, red, could drop a farmer here at the top. So if we are to close this city, then we actually probably are supposed to meeple a farm again. But it also opens up farming opportunities here. I really don't know which one's best. And he chooses to invade the city, which is, I'm not sure how much it is worth. I probably would not have done it, but yeah, okay, interesting. So the chicken invades. We have a chicken invasion in the field. +3. I mean, +1, but so 3 meeples versus 1. But now, as a result of these quick points, another invasion platform has been opened. So this guy's re-invading. And the only thing that has changed is that this guy has a lot on his scoreboard. Well, Mr. Chicken here probably can complete his city attack, connect to those points, and then hope to get a meeple back from the road. But the problem is, because of chonps' scoreboard lead, just to show you how much these quick points mattered, completing this road and getting a meeple back will still keep Mr. Chicken here behind. And he can't even get a tile to complete his road just yet. So this might mean that he needs to get a curvy tile to get his meeple back, and then he would also need to connect to the farm. Yeah, and look, this is exactly the kind of reconnection platform that we were talking about. Red is just dropping another farmer. Which is quite likely to be connected with 2 monasteries still remaining at the time. No, 3 monasteries remaining at the time. 2 monasteries remaining now still. So, regardless of what's happened now, it's going to be a loss for Miss Chicken here. Even if he draws all the monasteries available to him, this means that he's not going to draw a curvy tile even if there is one remaining. I didn't quite do a full calculation. I believe there is. The Dorito with the road with a shield is still available. So yeah, that's the point. Kind of, if he were to get the 2 monasteries, then chonps would get the Dorito with a shield, which means that this guy is not getting his road meeples back. But to rub it in, the Czech player even overruns this field and is going to win this massively and massively. Yeah, so turns out that his approach of refusing the 50-50 worked, although in order to win he did need this road monastery anyway. But this is only because I believe that Mr. Chicken here might have misevaluated what matters in this position, because these city points don't really matter that much. They were like 7 points for a trap meeple. It's really not that much, and there were ways of getting a stronghold on the field, a third, a fourth meeple, like finishing the city, dropping a farmer like this, finishing a city, dropping a farmer like this. This would also prevent chomps from getting these 4 points, because obviously he can't let in green onto the main farm. Yeah, so well, very back and forth game. Kind of both players playing really, really risky. Both prioritizing the fields, a bit surprisingly at times, but at the end it felt like one of the players prioritized the field a little bit more, and rightfully so. Yeah, so 2 field wins in 2 games. So early 3-point farmers for chomps are paying off. And maybe that's something for the Italian player to analyze, because how can we prevent losing the games via fields with the really 2 options, either getting earlier and more aggressive with the field attacks, or controlling the field and trying to get points elsewhere. Neither of these 2 things quite worked out for the Italian, and sadly for us, the player with as spectacular a screen name as he has will be eliminated from the tournament. So 2-0, a shorter match. Still was a solid fight. Now, what awaits us next? First of all, let's have a look what awaits the player yet next. And this is the Taiwanese player with the screen name Yuhai Hanemi. Lots of Taiwanese players actually here doing quite well. Well, I guess one of them was eliminated on stream earlier on in this morning. You can see that still on the screen. That was the early morning match. So chomps will be playing against the Taiwanese player in the consolidated final. So this would actually be to the right, for the right to participate in the main stage. And Polo Verde sadly coming a little bit short, to the chagrin and dismay of all our Italian fans. But I'm pretty sure we're going to see him again, either in the Mindsport Olympiad or in the World Team Carcassonne Online Championships in early 2025. Or both. Yeah, Eduardo is saying Polo Verde was really unlucky with his tiles. No, he wasn't. In the second game, he wasn't. That's the thing. In the first game, quite so much at the start, it was quite tricky to do that. I don't really think there's a lot of things that could have been done. Maybe stopping some red cities, like there are always chances. In the second game, probably roughly even tile draws, because both players drew their monasteries, both players had enough quick point tiles, and if you remember over here, yeah, so for example, this monastery configuration was super risky, but green drew all the tiles to get his meeple back. So of course it is unpleasant to lose, but it's also sometimes it's like super tempting to say, oh, you know, I just got bad tiles, rather than just recognizing that you've been outplayed. But you know, like it's not a terrible thing. Well, you know, like chomps did play well with farms, so it happens. Then next time Polo Verde will just try different strategies and see how those work out. No arguing with the fact that Polo is a beast of a player, of course. But I just generally don't like the... No, I mean, sometimes, of course, tiles are really, really skewed in one favor. Like, you know, one side gets just like 6 monasteries, or, you know, like 15 city caps or something ridiculous than that. There's really not much fighting against this. This game, though, the tile distribution did feel pretty even. I mean, the distribution of good tiles, at least, I mean. So, what are we gonna do now? Oh yeah, there's really not much to do other than just wait until the evening. So 3 matches done, 1 to go. We're gonna have another rematch. Also, yeah, a bit unfortunate actually for Polo Verde, because we forgot that he won the first encounter between the 2 players. So we haven't seen that. So I wonder what the history was like, and chonps managing to get his rematch. I wonder if there were any psychological battles here at play, or if chonps change any strategy for this match, but we won't know. Alrighty. So what's next? Do we have just the 1 game today? Yes, it's going to be Daniel Ayala versus Miami. 4 hours from now, we will be joining with a mystery special guest, somebody who has not been on stream before. So that's going to be it. Make sure to like this video if you like this video. That helped with the algorithm more than you might think. Subscribe for more competitive Carcassonne content like this, and make sure to meeple the notification button as well. It also makes a big difference. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.